Before the Second World War, Wincenty Witos was the most popular peasant politician. Some even called him the Peasant King. Back in the times of Poland's partitions, when our country did not exist on the political map of Europe, Witos was a prominent politician in the Austro-Hungarian Empire, even though he came from a poor family. He knew how to make an impression in Vienna's high society, though he dressed like a peasant and liked to flaunt that. Even as Prime Minister, he did not wear a tie and tucked his pants into his boots, as if to show he was about to do farm work. He represented the large rural community which in pre-war Poland constituted over 70% of the country's population. In the times of the impending conflict when the Bolsheviks were marching to Poland, he was the guarantor that a reborn Poland would not become the sole property of the lords. In other words, a country for the rich. That is why, during the Polish-Bolshevik War, he became the Prime Minister of the Government of National Defense. He demanded a far-reaching agrarian reform and more land for peasants. But the army needed recruits, so he bent over backwards at rallies in an effort to convince small farmers that fighting for the new Poland was really worth it. And indeed, these recruits eventually went on to save Poland. At one point, the fate of the entire state lay in his hands. Following tirades against Józef Piłsudski as the commander-in-chief of the army, Piłsudski tendered his resignation to Witos. Despite the pressure, the peasant leader won with a royal flush. He did not accept his dismissal. And 3 days later, the Poles crushed the Red Army. For over 12 years, he was one of the main players in Parliament and was able to cooperate with both the left and the right. Even while he was the Prime Minister, he looked after his farm. The second time Witos became Prime Minister, he held office for 7 months. The third time, only for 6 days. As Prime Minister, he could not boast major successes. His successive governments held office in times of deep social unrest and constant political haggle. His third cabinet, for instance, was overthrown by the May coup in 1926. And later, following a political trial, Witos himself was sentenced for attempting a coup. As a result, Witos emigrated to Czechoslovakia for several years. Despite his banishment, Witos became a strong advocate and defender of democracy, and as time proved, one of the great fathers of Polish independence.